Alright, hey everybody, here today. I'm going to be doing a quick, well maybe not so quick, video on doing some weathering techniques. Now the techniques I'm going to show are good for doing stuff like this. You know, this is a like a mecha, like a robot who's not going to fit in frame. They're not really going to be too useful for doing like an action figure, like a 4-inch military style figure. It's more for like a vehicle, tanks, planes, robots, things of that nature. It's going to be a very industrial look to the weathering. I did not film the first couple of steps because they're just boring, pretty standard base coating. I did take a few pictures that I'm going to overlay over the top of this video while I talk, so you'll see what I did. I mean, basically, the first thing you're going to do is you're gonna prime the entire piece. I didn't take a picture of the priming because it was just standard primer, standard gray primer. After that, I did a coat of I chose to do an orange rust color, an orangey brown rust color. Basically, that color right there that you see. That's the color I base coated the entire thing with that color. Once that was dry, it was a little bit too bright. It was a little bit brighter than I had expected it was going to come out, so I decided to tone it down with a quick brown wash, which was kind of pointless after I thought about it, because once the weathering is all complete, I'm going to wash over the entire thing anyway. But I did a brown wash over everything. Once that was dry, I sealed it with a clear coat, with a matte clear coat. And the reason you want to do that is because as you go further on the steps, basically we're going to scrape this yellow paint off. And the clear coat is going to protect you from scratching off the orange paint as well. Alright. After the clear coat was dry, I took some hairspray, and there's two different kinds of hairspray basically. I mean, this came from the dollar store. You know, it's a pump kind, and I like the pump kind better because I can basically take it and put it in my airbrush, because I have better control over how much is spraying out through the airbrush than you do with a regular aerosol can. So you want to give this a coat of hairspray, which I did. Once the hairspray is dry, you can start putting on your top coat, which for me was Minotaur Bile. That was my base coat, and then I did a couple of highlight coats. I used the radiated yellow to just get a couple of highlights on there, and then I did a light misting of white in some spots to kind of act as like, looks almost like the paint's faded, starting to fade away. And then I shot a transparent gray from the bottom up to act as like a little bit of a shadow. And then as you can see, I've already started my weathering process because I've learned from previous videos that you should really test out the techniques that you're going to be showing in your video before you shoot the video, otherwise you could end up looking like a fool. So, with that said, I've already started taking off the paint. But it's very simple to take the paint off and get that weathered effect. Alright, you're going to need a couple of tools. And those tools are going to be water. I have a little cap here with water. And then just something to scrape the paint off. You can use an X-Acto knife. I have a piece of a Scotch-Brite pad. This is just a wooden, it's a bamboo skewer. I tapered the end of it. I have an old paintbrush. I buy these in the dollar store. They're like $15 for $1 or $20 for $1. They're disposable paintbrushes, and then I just have a screwdriver. Alright. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your model. You're going to take some water, and you're going to wet a portion of your model where you want to scrape the paint off. Now, What the water does is it kind of softens and loosens up the paint. That's the top coat paint. Okay. And like I said, because we put that layer of clear coat, it's, you know, it's not really going to get underneath the top coat of paint to damage the orangey rust color. Alright, now you let the water sit on there for a couple of minutes, and then you just take whatever you're going to use. I mean, like I said, right now I'm using this this bamboo skewer, and you just start scraping. You want to you want to make sure that your damage is in a spot that makes sense. And right here you have like a hard edge, something that would catch on, you know, things would catch on the surface and scrape the paint off. Okay, just take that off like that, and as you can see, you have a nice scrape. The thing I like about this method, better than just, you know, you could do the reverse. You could paint it yellow and then take the orangey rust color and dab it on with a paintbrush. But I find that this method looks more realistic because you're actually removing the top layer of paint, which is what would happen in real life. If you drive your car and you scrape your car, you're gonna see the primer or the body underneath that coat of paint, which is essentially what you're doing here with this. If you took some paint and splashed paint on your car, it doesn't look the same, even though it could be the same color. All right, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the entire technique. You know, take a little bit of water, throw some water on your piece. Try to do it in small spots at a time. You know, I mean, don't wet your entire model and try to scrape everything off. And, you know, one of the most important things to me, in my mind, is just what I said. Try to make the damage in a place that makes sense. You know, I mean, I've seen people that will, you know, take paint off and damage a piece, you know, haphazardly, willy-nilly. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You know, I mean, right there, I took off a little bit more than I wanted to right there. I mean, that's one thing you do have to be careful of, is that the paint will come off rather easily. That's what, you know, that hairspray layer in between the base coat and the top coat is what allows the paint to come off in between. Like I said, you know, we put a clear coat over the top of the orangey rust color to prevent the rust color from coming off. Now, if I took this and I scraped really, really hard, the rust color would also come off. So you do have to be somewhat careful that you don't take off all your paint. You just want to do a little bit of battle damage, or a lot of battle damage, depending on, you know, how much damage you want. But, you know, sometimes less is more. So, you know, like I said, you really want to go around the edges. The edges are always going to be the first thing to get scraped. Okay, and like I said, I mean, I have some other tools here. I have this this piece of a Scotch-Brite pad. Okay, it's going to do the same thing. Put a little water on. Take the Scotch-Brite scouring pad, and, you know, rub that across here a little bit. Now, as you can see, you kind of get a little bit of a different effect from the Scotch-Brite pad than you do from the stir stick. It looks a little bit different. It looks very similar, but it looks a little bit different at the same time. Okay. And basically, you want to just do that over your entire model. You want to do that over the entire body of, you know, whatever it is that you're looking to get some weathering on. Alright, so it's been about an hour, maybe a little longer than an hour, and I've got the first half all weathered, all scraped off. You saw I used the stir stick. I mostly used the Scotch-Brite, the scouring pad. I had tweezers here that I could pick up the Scotch-Brite to get it into some areas that my fingers couldn't fit into. I used the X-Acto knife a little bit, but it was actually taking off too much paint and exposed the bare plastic in a couple spots. So I pretty much used the stir stick, the bamboo skewer, and the Scotch-Brite pad. Probably the Scotch-Brite pad more than anything else. And you can see that, you know, there's some definite, battle damage or just general wear and tear. Really, this isn't really battle damage. This is more just, the top coat of paint coming off and exposing the primered or rusted metal underneath that. Like I said, I've only done about half of it, but you can definitely see the difference between one half and the other. When the suit is just standing here, so I can get this right in the camera. This part I kind of did the entire thing, and then I decided to do just one arm, one leg, to kind of get a comparison shot, so you can see what it looks like with the damage versus without the damage. All right. So now I'm going to do the other half. And then when I'm done with the entire thing, I'll be back. Alright, so I'm done with all the weather, all of the paint scraping. I should not say all the weathering, because this is really just the first part of weathering something like this. See if I can get some close-ups. You can see that you really do get a nice chipped paint effect, but in reality it's not really a chipped paint effect because you're really chipping the paint off. And I think that's what makes this technique so popular and so successful, is because it's not just, you know, getting the technique or getting the look of paint being chipped off. You literally are chipping the paint off. You know, you're putting on an undercoat, and then you're putting on your color coat, and you're chipping off that color coat, which is exactly what would happen to a tank or a plane or a robot, a mecha. You know, and you know, sometimes battle damage can be real. As you can see, one of my little greebly pieces here just popped off, so we'll have to put that back on. But I think that's going to be it for this, because this video is probably already way too long. So I'll probably put this up as like part 1, and then we'll come back. We're going to do some washes. We're going to do some additional paint chipping with a different color, not like this. This is, excuse me, this is more like a rust color. And we're going to come back with something that's a little bit more on the brown side, a darker brown color, to be not so much where the paint has chipped off and rusted, but I guess maybe like a newer paint chipping where it's just going to be brown, but we're going to sponge paint that on. Alright, and then of course we'll do some washes. There's some, we can do a little bit of a chrome or a silver effect to get fresh scratches. So there's more that we're going to do, but that's going to be it for this one. Alright, thanks for watching, and make sure you come back and watch the other parts of the video that I'm going to upload hopefully soon. Thanks.